This is Bill Carter and Fred Kruger from Vinyl Productions. Today we're talking to Lawrence Gowan, Canadian superstar, who's been with Styx now for 10 years. And we're at the DTE Energy Theatre, where Styx will be performing with Foreigner and Kansas. Okay, Gowan, this is a pretty big year for you, actually. Year 25 for Return of the...
Strange Animal, that's right. And thank you for referring to me both as Lawrence Gowan and Gowan, because this is the first time we've both appeared on camera at the same time. So, for the Canadian people that know my background, they would understand that Strange Animal reaching this 25-year landmark, and the fact that I'm still in music, I wanted to kind of to acknowledge that. But for the last, actually, I'm 11 years now that I've been in Styx, and have been doing that and loving it, and kind of melding some of my solo career with my Styx career, because Styx have done a great version of A Criminal Mind.
Yeah. Will there be any more versions of any songs from the Strange Animal album in Styx? Because we're listening to them today. Desperate would work excellent, and Keep the Tension On. Thank
you very much for saying that. JY has said a couple of times to me, are there other songs, do you think Strange Animal would work for us, etc.? And I think, of course it would, but there's such a to use his words, an embarrassment of riches in the Styx catalog, that I really don't want to keep wedging my own, songs from the past into the Styx catalog. I think A Criminal Mind is a signature song, and it deserves to be played. And Tommy made the comment when he first heard that song, he said, I wish that was a Styx song. And so one of the first things we ever did when I joined the band was learn that song. And so that one deserves to be there. But I like keeping the two separate in some ways, and giving everything that I have in my current incarnation to Styx, because that's what I'm doing today, and keeping my solo career, keeping it pure in its essence by not necessarily pulling it into the current day. It's funny because we did a couple of shows, 2 Gowan shows at Fallsview Casino, the Avalon Ballroom there, theater there, in early May. And it was the first time I've done a solo show in 12 years, and revisiting those songs and learning them again and putting the band together and doing the epic rock presentation that reflected the 80s was a totally fun thing for me to do, and something that I think balances off my Styx life kind of nicely.
Are we going to see some more Return of the Strange Animal shows, solo shows, if you have time? Are you looking at that?
Time is the only factor, because I would love to do as many as possible. Yeah, you see, with Styx, we're all of the same ilk. I would love to play as many shows as possible a year. We're a band that love touring, and I love doing my solo tours as well. And if I can do more, I will. The problem is that Styx play around 100 shows a year. We're around the world, I think we've been around about 4 times since I've been in the band, and there's an insatiable appetite for them to play, and now suddenly there's a resurgence of interest in me playing more solo shows, and so I'll try to balance the two as much as I can.
Now, Strange Animal, I mean, especially for me, being an older person in the 80s, listen to that, it's just great stuff, and we're listening to it today, and how great and up to date and how crystal clear it sounds. Why was there no U.S. release? I mean, it's like the biggest mistake ever made.
It's, I remember attempting to tell this tale back in the 80s when people would ask me. It really is just very boring boilerplate music industry politics that played into it. That's the boring answer. The more interesting answer is in the cartoon that I put together at the beginning of this Return of the Strange Animal. I did a cartoon about the fact that Gowan was discovered, and then he was cloned, and then there was Lawrence Gowan, and then Lawrence Gowan joined Styx, and Gowan's been incarcerated all these years. I prefer that story. It could be reality.
Yeah, I guess we can definitely leave it at that. But let's see.
That's really what it is, honestly, Bill. It's the most boring music industry nonsense that played into the reason that record didn't get released in the United States.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was.
I do know that I attend a lot of record shows. I attended a record show in Detroit recently, and somebody had actually pulled up a copy of Strange Animal, and somebody said, "Who is this Gowan person?" And I was standing right beside it. I didn't say anything. And this guy who dealer who thought he was an expert, I guess, he goes, "Oh, that's the Canadian Elton John."
That's very funny. You know, before I joined Styx, I opened for them at the New Montreal Forum. It was in 1997, and I had a couple of French songs in the show that year because I did a kind of a semi-French record. And Todd, our drummer, came up to me after the show and he said, "Excusez-moi." I said, "It's okay, I'm English." And he said, "Oh, man, I thought you were like a French Elton John."
Excellent. Full circle. See, this is definitely meant to be. Going back to the videos, the videos for Strange Animal, the 4 videos were very excellent animation, if you will, in especially Criminal Mind. But what was your inspiration? You must love, because you had a lot to do with it. So you grew up on cartoons. What was your cartoon that you were watching? I'm thinking Max Fletcher.
That's a good one. Like
the Superman, the 1940 Superman one?
Exactly, yeah, those ones. But no, also George Reeves as well. Yeah, there's a lot of that in there. And you know, what happened was I had a band in the 70s in Canada called
Rheingold.
That's correct. And Rheingold was a very theatrical band, and we actually had this long piece called the Comic Strip Boogie. And back then we used these comic characters, not knowing that Marvel Comics and DC Comics might have something to say about us using their characters. And so that was put away. And then there were other big theatrical pieces that we did, but the band never made a record. But when the video era hit in the 80s, it suddenly was like my timing couldn't have been better, because everything that I'd built up to with my previous band experience and what television was offering then was, timing's everything. And so I just thought, what if we introduced some of that element into A Criminal Mind? And I was very encouraged to do so, because at that time they didn't want it to be too dark on TV, because they were pulling videos left, right, and center, because they were seen as being, if they were pro-gun, or if they were pro this or pro that or anti this. A lot of videos were getting banned. And, it was essentially a pop rock, progressive pop rock record, and I didn't want to see it get pulled. So I thought, all right, we'll find clever ways of getting around it, But even then, believe it or not, the judge pointing down in the video, which is so innocuous now and so, it's so light. But even then, there was controversy with a couple of stations thinking, no, that's the justice system pointing down at the lowly criminal, etc. And luckily that snuck through. But there were very stringent rules back then involving videos, and we managed to skate around them.
How in the hell did I find an autographed copy of Return of the Strange Animal at Walmart?
I autographed 2,500 of them one day, on the day before they were going to be released. I remember, I think HMV said, we'll take as many as you can autograph. So over a 6-hour period, I was able to get through 2,500 copies, and they went out to all the various places.
Excellent.
Look at my hand, man.